Hello again. It's wonderful to have you here today as we review a topic that has always piqued our curiosity. These are some of the most important things we believe everybody should know by the age of 30 and why they are important. First and foremost, your finest years may still be ahead of you. Some people cling to the good old days when they were young, had plenty of free time, and had few responsibilities. After a night out, you didn't need 3 days to recover. But that doesn't mean your greatest years are behind you. You still have a lot of time on your hands. After all, 30 is the new 20. According to statistics, we are living longer and better lives. In reality, from the standpoint of quality of life, you're living better than generations of monarchy. If you don't trust us, you can look it up to verify. You should know what it means to be a time billionaire or someone who has more than a billion seconds remaining to live. In other words, you can plan for the ultra long term if you have 31 years ahead of you. People underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years, so picture what you can accomplish in 30. The second thing is to decide your motivation. As you get older, maintaining motivation gets more difficult. A reward of playtime can inspire a child to complete schoolwork, but no one can motivate an adult to complete their taxes on time. Aside from that, perhaps fear of the government. Because there is no one to dangle a carrot in front of you as you become older, finding motivation becomes more difficult. One of the reasons people struggle with motivation is because of this. They anticipate it coming from the outside rather than from within. But here's a secret. Finding a good reason to get up in the morning is the key to motivation. Your expectations of yourself. Number 3. By the age of 30, you should have a good sense of your capabilities. Your true potential may yet be untapped, but you won't know unless you understand yourself. Are you aware of your own limitations? How long can you maintain your concentration? How quickly can you pick anything up? People are far more capable than they believe, and by the age of 30, you should bet more on yourself. Number 4. You are solely accountable. First and foremost, at the age of 30, you must recognize that your current situation is the outcome of your choices. Nobody, for the most part, makes them for you. However, you have complete control over the majority of the aspects that affect your life. Everything you've done thus far, good or evil, is entirely your responsibility. Here's a mental workout that will blow your mind. If you give a group of monkeys a typewriter and an endless amount of time, they'll write Shakespeare. This means that you can take some measures to make your dream life a reality, even if you don't have infinite time or a gang of monkeys. Number 5 is self-education. One of the most important lessons to acquire before turning 30 is that learning never ends. You can't just finish high school and call it a day. You can no longer earn if you stop studying. You will lose if you spend the next 50 years or more based on what you learned 10 years ago. It's also never easier to keep learning in the history of humanity. The best approach to invest in yourself is to continue to educate yourself. 6th, you've already spent the most of your time with your parents. If you're still living with your parents at 30, you've already spent 90% of your time with them. Some people find it difficult to comprehend this. When you were younger, you saw your parents every time you returned home, but now you no longer do. Family events bind your time with your parents, and it will remain that way unless you actually intervene. This applies to friendships as well. The majority of your time is spent simply living your life. It will not naturally happen unless you deliberately schedule time with your loved ones. You may have had terrific old relationships that faded away simply because you no longer saw each other. Number 7. Be willing to make compromises. You'll have to make more compromises as you become older. Every decision to do something implies a decision to refrain from doing something else. If you're not conscious of the compromises you're making, you'll naturally choose the simplest option. You'll opt for a small amount now rather than a large amount afterwards. Knowing what you have to give up and what you gain in exchange allows you to be comfortable making compromises. People who are afraid of making sacrifices choose for the illusion of a nice life rather than taking charge of their own destiny. Making better mistakes is number 8 on the list. You'll inevitably make a mistake. It's impossible to predict the future, and there's no cheat sheet to lead you through each step. So it's critical to learn how to make better mistakes, which you can accomplish by ensuring that whatever decision you make permits you to continue playing the game even if it doesn't work out. If you spend your entire life savings in one thing and it fails, you may learn the critical lesson of not placing all of your eggs in one basket. You don't have any more eggs though. You can make as many mistakes as you want as long as you can keep playing the game. Taking care of others is number 9. Consider being the last person on the planet with robots taking care of everything. You may believe that you will have a great time doing anything in the world, but the truth is that you will most likely go nuts in less than a week. You need decent people around you, no matter how antisocial or introverted you think you are. The best parts of life are those that are shared with others. It is human nature to want to be part of a group. You achieve this by learning to look after others. You must learn how to be a wonderful friend, a great teacher, and a great father, among many other things. Number 10 is finding balance. The happiest people in the world have a good balance of money and love in their lives. They have the resources to look after themselves and their loved ones, and they enjoy spending time doing things they enjoy. And more often than not, what produces money and what makes people happy are two very different things. Maintain a sense of equilibrium no matter how focused you are on your financial goals. There will be times when you have to sacrifice some balance for a sprint, but you should never fully disregard it. The last thing you want is to be lonely and unhappy. Material things will never satisfy you completely. You must strike a balance between your experiences. Knowing what makes you distinct from others is the 11th thing to figure out. One of a person's greatest assets is their ability to leverage who they are. You are the sum total of all your previous experiences, and because it's impossible for two people to have the same exact experiences at the same moment, each of you has your own unique perspective on life. How well can you use it will determine how successful you are in life. If you don't know what makes you special, now is the moment to find out. Consider what comes naturally to you. What could you spend hours working on? What seems clear to you but is perplexing to others? Number 12 is figuring out how to keep growing. Scientists continue to debate whether the brain develops until a particular age. However, one thing is certain: some people continue to grow while others stop. We've encountered people in their 40s who are just as invested in their own development as they were in their 30s and 20s over the years. They continue to be curious, meet new people, learn about new technologies, and look for ways to improve themselves. These are the ones who will live life to the fullest. For number 13, try to keep up. Year after year, the divide between rich and poor widens, and the middle class will soon vanish. Regardless of how you feel about it, you must look after yourself. Simultaneously, an increasing number of people believe that hard effort does not guarantee financial security. And you know what? They're absolutely correct. However, this is due to the fact that smart work is becoming more accessible. Entire industries are shifting as entry barriers get lower. Take, for example, being a media celebrity. When the pandemic hit, KHABY Lame started filming TikTok videos, and today he's the ambassador of Hugo Boss. It's easy to say, well, how is that fair? I'm working a 9 to 5 while TikTokers are making millions for apparently doing nothing. But the point we're trying to make here is that dwelling in your own shell isolates you from the rest of the world. You have no idea how or why things are going on. You'll be perplexed by how people are ensuring a future for themselves in ways you can't comprehend. For example, while taking a dump, you can buy Apple stocks from your phone. The point is that there are more buckets for you to put your eggs in every day, and they're only 2 clicks away. So keep track of what's going on in the world. Learning to detach is number 14. You must also figure out how to detach on the other side of the coin. A growing number of people are either burnt out or have lost touch with reality. The majority of your day is spent sitting in seats and staring at screens. It has an impact on your mental health in addition to your physical health. You must find a method to tune out all of the noise. If finding balance keeps you from burning out, disconnecting after a sprint will replenish you. We define a sprint as a time of 1 to 3 months during which things are especially difficult. If you try to keep your life exciting, you'll notice that you cycle between sprints and recharging. Finally, number 15 is recognizing your progress. The only purpose to look back is to realize how far you've progressed. It's a fantastic approach to stay grounded in the now while still setting goals for the future. Consider the challenges you've conquered and how you've grown as a person as you reflect on your life. So far, you've done a fantastic job. Now is the moment to start living your dream life. In a nutshell, you've had plenty of opportunity to try new things. You've probably had a few various jobs and lived in a few multiple cities, but now it's time to figure out what a wonderful life looks like. You must ground yourself in reality and persevere long enough to achieve something difficult but attainable and is worth it. Begin to imagine what a wonderful life would look like for you. Where do you see yourself residing in the future? What are your financial goals? You might be surprised to learn that your ideal existence looks nothing like you imagined. You've had enough trials by the time you're 30 to know what a perfect day appears to look like for you. Imagine it and then strive for it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Consider subscribing to our channel and joining our fantastic community if you found it helpful. If you're still yearning for more, visit our channel for more awesome content.